I cannot, unless somebody shows me a way to do this constitutionally so that there is a reasonable basis for drawing this distinction. I cannot find the words. I have tried and I have looked at it, and the logic of that distinction escapes me, frankly.
Let me suggest the words. We have excluded the residential condominiums because they have condominium boards which take the responsibility to keep up the condominiums, and you've never had any complaints regarding those. So what you could possibly do is say that where there is a condominium board composed both of residential members and commercial members, the elements of that building under control of that board are exempted from this act. And the rationale of it is because you have the residents who have been policing this type of thing so that the building that they live in is a good building. That's my suggestion of how to do it. It's just a suggestion, but the mechanism is the board in these buildings has proved to be responsible.
So Kathy, I think you thought about this and debated this with Trustee Cates for some time. Either you think you can do that or you can't. But what I'd like tonight, since it is 10 o'clock, is your best recommendation and opinion after all of this discussion, after researching the law, after researching all the codes, whether or not you stand on this language. And if you do, then I'm going to call for the vote to introduce, because I see the dilemma, and we can nuance this until the cows come home, and that's not the point. We're all volunteers here, and we need to move on. This is chewing up so much of our time and staff's time. It's simply, at the end of the day, if you're going to kill it, then kill it. Whatever. But this is really this. I think we have enough information here that we can say, let's introduce it, standing on that language, give it the public comment time it deserves. Look at some of this other language that Kathy can work on and move forward. Well, if you're not comfortable with it, then we don't introduce it.
I believe you should go around the table like you normally do and ask for opinions first, and so we each
absolutely. I haven't been able to even get to that point yet, Trustee Cates. So I would like to do that.
Fine.
Okay, you're engaging in a debate with your village attorney.
You asked. You indicated that the issue should be dealt with. So you
clearly stated your points, Trustee Brins.
I haven't stated my points on the ordinance, so you raised the issue of the condominiums.
Right.
Fine.
Yes.
Can we go around again?
We're going around on whether or not this language on the condominium. Kathy, why don't you state the fundamental issue that you wanted to know where the council stood, and then vote to introduce or not. So why don't you state what that is, and then we'll go around and see where.
My understanding of the council's policy direction up to today has been that we are excluding everything in the single-family residential districts. We are excluding everything outside of the commercial districts, and that within the commercial districts we are excluding only residential condominiums and the areas of the building that are occupied by residential condominiums. In my opinion, I have drafted recitals that I think would be sustainable and lead to a sustainable ordinance if you proceed along those lines. The biggest problem we have is because, unlike any other jurisdiction, we are trying to carve exceptions into this property maintenance code. When you start carving out things based on who owns what and leaving it to the vagaries of whether the ownership is by somebody of a residential unit as opposed to somebody who's a commercial, the bottom line is that the commercial space becomes an investment. The building structure becomes an investment for everybody who is in that condominium association. And when you are looking at it from that standpoint, in my mind, and my recommendation to you is that we not parse this and split it any further, that this has gone far enough, and that my recommendation would be to proceed with that distinction as it's drawn in this draft.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy. All right, so would you like to, Trustee Cates, address that?
I think I've addressed it more than enough.
Good, well then,
The comments that he made, I think should be readdressed with Kathy. I mean, attorneys, well, they're both attorneys. I mean, they have to work this out. And I think that's why Bill had the right answer. You know, let's give this another shot. I've been there before. I'd sure like to see this condo, this commercial, I call it the commercial condos, then, for lack of a better word, those 4 units. I'd like to see a resolution to this that's more along the line with the residential condominiums completely. So that's where I'm at. I think this is very technical legal work.